Hello everyone! I noticed that from the videos that I have been sharing on this still kind of new homeschooling YouTube channel, the one that has been getting a lot of attention is the one where I go over the standards on the subject of language arts. So what is going on with my shirt? So I thought maybe this is a topic that more people are interested in hearing, and it's a topic that I'm interested in learning more about and discussing with other people in the comment section. So in my own personal homeschooling journey here with my kids, I have decided to print out the standards. So I have here with me social studies and science, my California state standards, and I actually printed out from kindergarten to second grade because that's where we're at right now. My son is he's finishing off kindergarten. My daughter is finishing off first grade, so I have like the next grade level that my daughter is going to start in a few months. So I thought it would be fun to go through these standards, just kind of maybe as more of like an introduction to some people that maybe some of you homeschooling parents just like to go based off of whatever the curriculum introduces, and but you're curious about what are on the standards. And so I feel like I would just like to go over them with you, like just kind of skim through it and talk about them a little bit. So I figured I would start with science first. So science, my standards on the bottom, it says California Department of Education. So the way that I found these, I just went on the computer, I googled California state standards for, and then I just write like first grade or kindergarten, and usually it'll take you to a website that has all of the grades anyway, so you still kind of have to go through it, and then when you're going to print them out, you just see what are the pages that you need to print out, and that's how I did this. So from what I can see, science, let's see, I believe kinder, first and second grade science standards are broken up into 4 categories: physical sciences, life sciences, earth sciences, and investigation and experimentation. And as a relatively still new homeschooling mom, I'll tell you this, that when I print out the science standards, it seems less challenging than the other ones, which were the other video that I'll leave it in the description in case you want to go check that out. I gave a brief overview of everything that language arts, the standards require, and we went over like different categories. But yeah, for science, it looks way more easier and to the point, and I think when you print them out, you'll feel less overwhelmed when you see it, the way that it's divided even for you. So I actually got an idea. I thought that I would start making videos of me going through the standards and creating some type of activity or even just talking about some ideas about how I plan on tackling this specific standard or this category, and I think that will be a lot of fun, and it'll be like we're going through the standards together. If you want to see what some ideas because of how I'm doing things, I think you might find that interesting. So let's go through this a little bit. Physical sciences is the first of the 4 categories, and you just have, let me see, yeah, so you know how I mentioned that there's 4 categories, those 4 titles, so each of them, I don't know if I could show you, let me see how there's the number right below the title. So then it's pretty much an outline. So this is what they want you to cover for physical science, and then you'll have like 3 different things that they specifically want you to teach them. That should be, you know, within that overall goal. So it says number 1, properties of materials can be observed, measured, and predicted as a basis for understanding this concept. And I'm not going to go through every single word for all of these. I think I'll just do this for the first one, and then just briefly kind of compare the rest of the grades, just in case you're curious how they change or if they're the same and all that. So here they want your kids to observe, measure, and predict the properties of the materials. And the wording is kind of, it sounds a little like, what exactly are you asking? But I'm pretty sure that what they're actually saying is a lot more simple and straightforward than what it sounds like it on the standards. Okay, and then as a basis for understanding this concept. So here they'll help you to know how to teach it. So A, students know objects can be described in terms of the materials they are made of. For example, clay, cloth, paper. And their physical properties, for example, color, size, shape, weight, texture, flexibility, attraction to magnets, floating, sinking. Okay, so that's kind of nice that they give you examples of what they mean by, for example, their physical properties. So just in case you were wondering, what are you talking about, like properties, you have those examples, okay? Physical properties, color, size, shape. So they want you to be able to describe the actual material, what it is, and then go into even more details about it. So that would be like, I like in my head, I'm trying to figure out right now, how would I teach my kids this? Like, what activity can I do? What would I have them write down? And so that's what I plan on doing for the future videos. So then B, students know water can be a liquid or a solid and can be made to change back and forth from one form to the other. See, that one sounds like way more easier than the first one to me personally. And C, students know water left in an open container evaporates, goes into the air. See, they even tell you like, what does evaporate mean? Which I'm pretty sure we all understand that, but they're helping us. And then, but water in a closed container does not. So it gives you the information that you need to know in order to teach your child that. And just like that, you have completed physical sciences for your kindergartner. If you just make sure your child understands those 3 things, you're good. I did mention in the other video that I heard someone say that the standards are not something that you just want to check it off and never go over it again. So obviously, like, as you're going through the standard and later on you're going through other things, but you remember what this other standard taught. Like, for example, B, that students know water can be a liquid or a solid and can be made to change back and forth from one form to the other. So just because your child learns that in the beginning of the school year, for example, and it doesn't mean that you never refresh their mind and remind them of that lesson that they learned. And so that's something that I like to do throughout the school year. We're constantly talking about, oh, remember when we learned this, remember, and just asking questions to keep those lessons fresh in their mind, because you are going to build on top of that, and that's how education works. Okay, so since I'm going to be making videos going over each of these, I'm not really going to go into detail about the other ones. Life sciences, it also has three letters, 3 things that they want you to teach your child for life sciences. I guess I could just go over the main thing that doesn't go into too much detail. Different types of plants and animals inhabit the earth. How simple is that, right? As a basis for understanding this concept, and then you'll go through those 3 things, and they tell you what exactly they want you to teach about the animals and about the plants and how they relate to each other, and the exact things that they want you to know about plants and animals. Very simple things that I feel like the animal unit that I went through with my kids, they already learned that information, even though like we weren't necessarily like just taking this approach where I'm planning on doing it this way from now on for this school year. It's really interesting because a lot of the curriculum that you already buy, that's how they design their curriculum, based off of these things, right? So if you're going through curriculum, chances are they already learned it as well. But it's nice, right? It's nice to be able to see, well, maybe your child did go through the curriculum, but maybe your child didn't really learn it. So I think it would be good to review these standards. And if there's something that your child isn't too... your child doesn't really understand something, I think it's a great way to review, and to maybe during your break, your summer break, you can go over those things, because like I said, you're going to build on top of that foundation, and it's really difficult to learn more difficult things if you didn't really understand the foundation of that topic. So then the next one is earth sciences. And it says earth is composed of land, air, and water. And then it goes over like you go into sorry, I'm reading that students will know characteristics of like mountains, rivers, oceans, valleys, deserts, and local landforms. And right there, they don't necessarily tell you what exactly of those things, but I guess it's up to you. And then the weather, seasons, and how it affects inhabitants, the earth. And then the last thing for that is that your students should know how to identify resources from earth that are used in everyday life, and understand that many resources can be conserved. Okay, so the next and the last thing is investigation and experimentation. This one's a little longer. Scientific progress is made by asking meaningful questions and conducting careful investigations. And then Okay. As a basis for understanding this concept and addressing the content in the other 3 strands, students should develop their own questions and perform investigations. Which kids love to do that. So this one has A through E. And the first one says, observe common objects by using the 5 senses. Simple, right? I already have like ideas of how you can do that. Describe the properties of common objects. Okay, so it seems like this one is kind of going over what you already learned earlier about the properties and being able to say, characteristics of them. Describe the relative position of objects by using one reference, above or below. And that one, I'm already remembering master books. They went over that like a lot. I don't remember if it was in the math book actually. I don't remember, but one of the curriculum books that my kids went over, that was like constantly being asked, where is the object, above, below, and things like that. Compare and sort common objects by one physical attribute. Yeah. Which I feel like that's just normal life in our home. I love to organize things. I enjoy doing it, but not when it's a problem in our home and it continues to happen, like a messy playroom. That's not enjoyable if you feel like your work is just going to be undone, right? Like in a few days. But usually I enjoy organizing things, and I've taught my kids that. So it's kind of like one of those things where we didn't even need the standards to teach our kids that in this home. Like I've already taught them to sort things. But this goes into like a lot more detail, so I like that. And yeah, you're definitely going to need that later on in science. Weight, maybe that's something that I haven't taught my kids yet, so that should be interesting. And then communicate observations orally and through drawings. Yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be taught to kids, I think, to communicate your actual observations. They do it naturally when they're talking about anything, but like to be able to train them for like a presentation in front of people, that's very important in life. So that's good that they're teaching them already in kindergarten. Their drawings, kids are really good at that. So, but it's nice to apply the drawings to like science, I was using the master books. Was it master books? The science book. Yeah, it was. And it was teaching about animal cells and plant cells. And it's just one of those things that your child might not really understand. What are you talking about? Even if you describe it or you just talk about it. So I liked how that book, it actually had you draw an animal cell and a plant cell. And definitely I feel that for science, drawing helps a lot. I think. I don't know if it's just because I'm a visual learner, but I found that my children were able to better understand the information when they saw a picture of it. And when they were coloring it and drawing it and writing the words, labeling it. I really appreciated that about that curriculum. Okay, let's see if the standards look a lot more different than kindergarten for the first graders. These are the same categories, and let's find out. So physical sciences. Materials come in different forms, states, including solids, liquids, and gases. Okay, so I think that goes more into detail. And then it only has A and B. Students know solids, liquids, and gases have different properties. And then B, students know the properties of substances can change when the substances are mixed, cooled, or heated. I feel like that one was already part of kindergarten, wasn't it? No, I think that was just, I was reading that one before I made this video. Alright, so that's new. Yeah, that's new. So they do change. But notice how in kindergarten, physical sciences was more like just kind of the introduction, right? And now like they're actually starting to learn some things, some specific things. And then life sciences for first grade, it has more. Plants and animals meet their needs in different ways. And then, so for example, different plants and animals inhabit different kinds of environments and have external features that help them thrive in different kinds of places. If you look at my animal unit study, that was totally covered in our, that was all that was that unit study. It was completely about that, just learning about the animals and how different where they live and how it affects their environment and the things, even the things that they can do. It's really interesting. Students know both plants and animals need water. Animals need food. My battery is about to die. So I'm going to finish this video. It's giving a lot of information, very specific information about animals. And the nice thing is that, for example, here it tells you how to infer what animals eat from the shapes of their teeth. So maybe you did an animal unit study, but you never talked about the teeth. And it tells you, for example, sharp teeth eats meat, flat teeth eats plants. Simple enough, right? And roots are associated with the intake of water and soil nutrients, and green leaves are associated with making food from sunlight. So very simple things, which I look forward to making videos on. I feel like the kids are learning most of this already in the curriculum and the read alouds, but I think that doing hands-on activities about these standards are going to really like just make it that much more memorable and just help them to really associate that information to like real life. And then earth sciences, again, about the weather, about how it can be observed, measured, and described. But it goes more into detail about like the tools, and it gives you a couple of them as an example. They want you to record changes from day to day and across seasons. Students know that the weather changes from day to day, but so yeah, they tell you what your kids need to know about temperature and weather. And how the sun warms the land, air, and water. And then the last part, investigation, experimentation. Scientific progress is made. Okay, the same thing. It says the same exact thing, but it tells you to do different things, like draw pictures that portray some features of the thing being described, record observations. So they're being little scientists more over here. Yeah. And let me just go real quick to second grade. Physical sciences, the motion of objects can be observed and measured, and then they'll tell you the position of an object can be described by locating it in relation to another object or to the background. An object's motion can be described by recording the change in position of the object over time. So it goes more into detail. It talks about objects falling, magnets, sound, vibrating objects, more lessons for second grade. And I have to remind myself right now, wait, my daughter is not there yet. I feel like I didn't do that, but I forgot right now. That is what we're going to learn the next school year. So just comparing them. Okay, life sciences, plants and animals. So it's really interesting to see, like, for some of these, it's pretty much you're just going over some of the same things. Like plants and animals have predictable life cycles. You're just, I guess, as with each grade, you're learning more about the topic. Organisms reproduce offspring, and some animals, their sequential stages of life cycles, like butterflies, frogs, and mice. Characteristics of an organism are inherited from the parents. So light, gravity, a lot of things, a lot of specific things to go over. Definitely more information and an extra page for second grade. That's okay. That's okay. Earth sciences. Earth is made of materials that have distinct properties and provide resources for human activities. And then you go over rocks. So that will be fun. And the last section, investigation and experimentation. Make predictions based on observed patterns and not random guessing. A lot of hands-on. And here they're going to construct bar graphs to record data. So you can see that the activities, they get to use magnifiers or microscopes to observe and draw descriptions. That'll be so fun. I've been wanting to buy microscopes, so definitely gonna have a lot of fun in second grade. I'm guessing like my son, since my second grader is going to be doing it, why not, right? My son can do his own observations as best as he's able to. So I was going to go over social studies, but I'm thinking this video is probably long enough. So how about I do social studies on the next video? And okay, that's my cue. I gotta go see what's going on with my kids. Their dad is there, but I'm gonna go see if I can help. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any tips about the standards or any science ideas, anything that you did that you found helpful about science in your homeschooling. Let us know, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.